Good afternoon.
Hello.
Drew, Chair of the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council, and I am calling our monthly meeting to order. Ms. Owen, will you call the roll?
Department of Commerce. Department of Ecology.
Rob Dingle, present.
Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Mike Livingston, present.
Department of Natural Resources.
Lenny Young, present.
Utilities and Transportation Commission.
Stacy Brewster, present.
Local government and optional state agencies for the Gooseberry Project, Bill Sariel.
Bill Soriel, present.
For Horse Heaven, Derek Sandison. Assistant Attorney General John Thompson.
John Thompson is present.
Council staff Sonia Bumpus. Amy Kidder. Amy Moon.
Amy Moon's present.
Kyle Overton.
Here.
Patty Betts.
Present.
Stu Henderson. Stephen Posner.
Stephen Posner, present.
Is our court reporter on the line?
Yes, this is Taylor Garlinghouse. I'm present.
Kittitas Valley Wind, EDP Renewables, Eric Melbardis.
Present.
Wild Horse Wind Project, Jennifer Diaz.
Present.
Grace Harbor Energy, Chris Sharon.
Present.
Chehalis Generation Facility, Mark Miller.
Present.
Columbia Generating Station, Kip Whitehead.
This is Mary Ramos reporting for Columbia Generating Station.
Okay, thank you. And Council for the Environment, Bill Sherman.
Present.
Chair, there is a quorum for the council and for the Gooseberry and Horse Heaven councils.
Joan, I apologize. This is Kate Kelly from Commerce. I arrived late.
Thank you.
And Joan, this is Sonia Bumpus. I am on the line.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Is there anyone else on the line who would like to state that they are at this meeting at this time?
Hi, good afternoon. This is Pat Landis with Horse Heaven Wind Farm.
And Tim McMahon with Horse Heaven and Gooseberry.
And Blake Bjornson with Gooseberry Solar.
This is Owen Hurd with Columbia Solar.
Janet Sullivan, observing from the Office of Administrative Hearings.
Okay, thank you all. Before we move on to our proposed agenda, I would like to welcome our newest member to the EFSEC Council, and that is Lenny Young, who has been designated by Commissioner of Public Lands Hillary Franz to serve as the Department of Natural Resources representative on EFSEC. Lenny is DNR's Deputy Chief Operating Officer. He has worked with DNR since 1989 in a number of science and management roles. He has represented DNR in several collaborative formats, including Washington's Forest and Fish Policy Committee, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Northern Spotted Owl Recovery Team, Governor Gregoire's Natural Resources Subcabinet, Governor Inslee's State Efficiency and Environmental Performance Governing Council, and Commissioner Franz's Carbon Sequestration Advisory Group. Lenny holds a bachelor's degrees in zoology and wildlife management from University of Maine, a master's degree in wildlife biology from University of Montana, and Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification from University of Washington, Tacoma. Welcome, Lenny.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'm very glad to be here.
So moving on then to the meeting minutes, we have before us excuse me, I jumped ahead. We have the proposed agenda. Is there a motion to approve the proposed agenda?
Rob Dingle, motion to approve agenda.
Kate Kelly, second.
Is there any discussion or any changes? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the proposed agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is adopted. Moving on to the meeting minutes from February 16th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 16th?
This is Stacy Brewster. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the February 16th meeting.
Second?
Kate Kelly, second.
Are there any changes in the draft minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from February 16th, 2021, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? The minutes are approved. We will now move on to our operational updates. Kittitas Valley Wind Project, Mr. Milbardis.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, EFSEC Council staff. Welcome, Lenny. For the record, this is Eric Milbardis with EDP Renewables, Senior Operations Manager for the Kittitas Valley Wind Power Project. We had nothing non-routine to report for the period.
Thank you. Wild Horse Wind Power Project, Ms. Diaz.
Yes, thank you, Chair Drew and council members and staff. This is Jennifer Diaz with Puget Sound Energy representing the Wild Horse Wind Facility. I have nothing non-routine to report for the month of February.
Thank you. Chehalis Generation Facility, is it Mr. Smith or?
This is Mark Miller speaking this month, Chair Drew.
Okay,
good afternoon, Chair Drew, EFSEC, Council, and staff. This is Mark Miller, the plant manager representing the Chehalis Generation Facility. I have one correction in the submitted report for the month of February. The report should be corrected to read megawatt hours generated in February, not January, and those were 145,748 megawatt hours generated in February. And that's the only correction, and I have nothing else non-routine to report this month.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Grace Harbor Energy Center, Mr. Sharon.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew and council members. Chris Sharon, plant manager at Grace Harbor Energy Center, and for the month of February, I also have nothing non-routine to report.
Thank you,
repeat
Mr.
anything there.
Nothing happening right now either, right? Thank you, Mr. Sharon. Moving on to Columbia Generating Station, Ms. Ramos.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, EFSEC Council and staff. This is Mary Ramos reporting for Energy Northwest, Columbia Generating Station, and WNP 1 and 4. In February 18th, Energy Northwest submitted comments regarding a draft radioactive air emissions license for Columbia Generating Station. We're working with EFSEC to discuss the comments with Department of Health. And then also during February, the week of February 22nd, the Washington State Fire Marshal's Office conducted an inspection of Energy Northwest's Industrial Development Complex and non-power block buildings at Columbia Generating Station. And the inspection scope included a review of 2019 open actions as well as the annual inspection for 2020. For other updates, Columbia Generating Station is getting ready for our next refueling outage. It will be our 25th refueling and maintenance outage to begin on May 8th with a target duration of 40 days. And for this outage, the entire site shifts focus on the outage and pre-outage work, begins to ramp up starting in mid-March.
And thank you, Ms. Ramos. For the newer council members, this is an activity which happens every 2 years, is that correct?
That's correct. Would you like me to provide a little bit more information regarding our outage?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, we're getting ready for our 25th refueling and maintenance outage, which begins in May 8th. And more than 1,300 skilled workers hired locally and also from all over the country will join Energy Northwest workforce of about 1,000 employees to support the refueling outage. Part of the scope, we're going to replace 260 of the 764 nuclear fuel assemblies in Columbia's core with new fuel. And those will be placed in our dry cask storage on site, and they remain stored securely and above ground. Other maintenance projects, we have replacement of a low pressure turbine rotor, replacement of reactor water cleanup heat exchangers and piping, and refurbishment of a condensate pump and motor. So various maintenance projects as well as replacing fuel.
Thank you very much for that additional report.
That's all I have.
I guess one question I have is, are there additional precautions that you have to take, even though we are, certainly by May, hopefully even more so, declining in the incident of COVID-19 amongst the community? Are you taking additional precautions because of that?
Absolutely, yes. We have a dedicated pandemic response team, that response team was set up well before outage, in not only looking at outage, but also, the ongoing safety and health of EN employees. They have been benchmarking with other power plants to see how what they have learned and what protocols they have implemented to safely conduct their outage. We're actually one of the later plants. It's my understanding we're one of the later plants to go through an outage in the midst of a pandemic. So we have a lot of operating experience that we've gained from other plants, and we're taking lots of precautions. I know that they're expanding what we call our in-processing when they first badge and go through the motions of onboarding new employees. We have very thorough health screening and lots of training to make sure that they have the right behaviors in the midst of the pandemic. Does that answer your question? I could certainly reach out to our pandemic response team to see if they have a better summary of the more details related to COVID.
That's fine. I thank you for that summary. Are there questions from any council members? I know some of us had the opportunity, in fact, to visit the Columbia Generating Station as well as all the other facilities, operational facilities. And as we get through the restrictions that we've had because of COVID-19, if the newer council members are interested in seeing any of our facilities, if they can contact probably the best would be Sonia Bumpus, our manager, and perhaps have an opportunity to see any of our facilities that we have the environmental oversight of. So thank you very much. Moving on to Desert Claim, Ms. Moon.
Good afternoon, Council Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is Amy Moon providing an update on the Desert Claim project. EFSEC staff continue to coordinate with Desert Claim. However, there are no other project updates at this time.
Thank you. Columbia Solar, Mr. Overton.
Yes, thank you. This is Kyle Overton, the site specialist for Columbia Solar. We don't really have anything new for this month. EFSEC staff continue to coordinate with the facility and our contractors on some pre-construction plan review. Are there any questions?
I don't hear any, so thank you very much. Goose Prairie Solar, Mr. Overton.
Yep, thank you. This is Kyle Overton again, the site specialist for Goose Prairie. So right now, EFSEC staff, we continue to coordinate with the applicant and our state agency and third-party contractors on the review of their application for site certification. Coming up later on today, we have a public information meeting and a land use hearing, which is to begin at 5 p.m. and will be held virtually via Skype to accommodate in-person meeting restrictions. These meetings and information hearing, land use hearing are required per WAC 463-43030 and are part of the expedited processing determination process. Is there any questions?
Are there any questions for Mr. Overton?
This is Stacy Brewster. Kyle, could you tell me a little bit about the third-party contractors, what exactly that means that you're working with?
Right. So we contracted with a private firm, Golder and Associates, to aid us in some of the application review that is kind of outside of the expertise of some of our state agency contractors. So they're helping us look at things that are, for example, visual aesthetics and items like that may not necessarily be the experts we find in our agency contractors.
Thanks.
Yep.
Other questions? Thank you. Moving on to Horse Heaven Wind Farm, Ms. Moon.
Thank you, Chair Drew. This is Amy Moon again, providing an update on the Horse Heaven Wind Project. EFSEC staff continue to process the Horse Heaven Wind Project application for site certification, otherwise known as the ASC, that we received on February 8th, 2021. We are working with the project proponent, Scout Clean Energy. The application was submitted with an expedited process request per WAC 463-43. EFSEC staff are working with a contractor and state agencies reviewing the ASC, the State Environmental Policy Act, or SEPA, the checklist, as well as evaluating the project relative to Benton County land use criteria. A public informational meeting and land use hearing are scheduled for March 30th, 2021 at 5 p.m. The meeting and hearing will be in a remote virtual platform due to the current COVID-19 public health constraints. The informational meeting is being held within the 60 days of the application receipt as required by WAC 463-43-040. This meeting will provide information to the public concerning the nature and purpose of the proposed energy facility, information on the council process, and an opportunity for public comment. Immediately following the informational meeting, a land use hearing will be held. The purpose of the land use hearing is to determine if the proposed Horse Heaven Wind Project is consistent and in compliance with county land use criteria. EFSEC sent notification letters to local and state agencies who have the opportunity to appoint someone to someone on the council for the project on February 17th. So we sent the letters February 17th. Soliciting council members, and the Washington Department of Natural Resources appointed Derek Sanderson. Letters were also sent on March 9th to adjacent landowners announcing the public informational meeting and land use hearing. And as a reminder, the Horse Heaven Wind Project application included requests for that expedited process, which is a 120-day review timeline per WAC 463-43, which would be June 8th. The expedited processing determination requires review of the application, environmental checklist, and the holding of the land use hearing to determine whether the proposed project is consistent and in compliance with land use plans and zoning ordinances. These activities are required prior to the council determining whether the environmental impacts are not significant or may be mitigated to non-significant levels under the revised Code of Washington 43.21C.031. And copies of the Horse Heaven Wind Project application were submitted for public access at the Washington State Library in Olympia and locally near the proposed project location at the Mid-Columbian Libraries in Kennewick, Prosser, and West Pasco. Also at the Richland Public Library, the Keewaydin, which I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, the Keewaydin Park Branch Library, and the West Pasco Branch Library. And does the council have any questions? I gave a pretty lengthy explanation for the new council members.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Moon.
You're welcome.
One correction is that it's the Department of Agriculture who appointed Mr. Derek Sanderson as a member. I heard you say Department of Natural Resources.
Yes, I did say that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And of course, Mr. Young is our DNR representative. And I do thank you for that detail, especially about where the copies of the application are located, because there are numerous documents associated with that. People can also go online to efsec.wa.gov, right? Our website, for information both about the hearings and to also review the application. Is that correct?
Yes, I think it's efsec@utc.wa.gov.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from other council members? Okay, then I will stop speaking. You're welcome.
Thank you. That concludes our agenda, but for the good of the order, I would like to read resolution number 348, commending services of EFSEC staff member Tammy Mastro. Council members have seen this resolution, and thank you for your signatures, but we have had a longtime staff member move to a new position, for which we congratulate her, but it's also a difficult time for us because Tammy basically introduced EFSEC to each one of the staff members who are with us now. So she was pretty much one of the first people we met, and the council members as well, when we started our work with EFSEC. So reading resolution number 348, commending services of EFSEC staff member Tammy Mastro. Whereas Tammy Mastro has dedicated 18 years of career service and worn many hats within the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council, including as an emergency hire office assistant on September 3rd, 2003, office assistant in training on June 1, 2004, office assistant 1 on December 1, 2004, office assistant 2 on June 1, 2005, Office Assistant 3 on November 15th, 2005, Administrative Assistant 3 on December 1, 2009, Commerce Specialist in Training on May 18th, 2010, and whereas Tammy Mastro faithfully served the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council with great distinction in her final position as the Commerce Specialist 1 from June 1, 2010 until March 15, 2021. And whereas Tammy Mastro, with great composure and presence of mind, managed numerous interagency agreements and contracts, which often included difficult negotiation of contract budgets and review of invoices with contractors and Utilities and Transportation Commission staff. And whereas Tammy Mastro tirelessly, or was it exhaustively, processed approximately 970 exhibits and countless briefs, dispositive motions, orders, interventions, and pleadings for EFSEC's first all-electronic document adjudicative hearing for the Vancouver Energy Project, the most controversial and complex energy proposal in the Council's recent history. And whereas Tammy Mastro bravely and seemingly effortlessly manned the sign-up table at public comment meetings, including some of the largest and most controversial projects in EFSEC's history, while showing great empathy and attention to detail with every person she signed up and interacted with. And whereas Tammy Mastro quickly became the EFSEC break time puzzle queen, supplying and solving hundreds of puzzles, greatly contributing to EFSEC's team morale and camaraderie. And whereas Tammy Mastro assisted with the planning and logistics for multiple public meetings and hearings held across Washington state, such as Lacey, Olympia, Spokane, Vancouver, and Ellensburg, Washington, including 5 weeks of adjudicative hearings in Vancouver and Olympia, the longest in EFSEC history. And whereas Tammy Mastro has faithfully and respectfully worked with and in support of 5 chairs, 40 council members, 4 AAGs, and 25 staff members. And whereas Tammy Mastro, with no small amount of blood, sweat, and tears, did the one job that absolutely no one wants to do, records management. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council hereby recognizes Tammy Mastro's outstanding, unwavering, and faithful contribution to the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council staff and council alike, and gratefully expresses its sincere gratitude for her commitment, dedication, effort, professionalism, hard work, and consideration she has shown. And I will add, to staff, to council members, and especially to the public over the past 18 years, dated this 15th day of March 2021. One final note is that she is our historian of the activities of EFSEC, and we are grateful for the fact that she has moved to our sister agency, Commerce, and so when we need to know where a document is or what happened before, we know she's just a phone call away. So with that, applause for Ms. Mastro. And at this point, we have no further business. So our meeting is adjourned, and we will see council members at 5 p.m. today for our public meeting and land use hearing. Thank you all.
Chair Drew.
Yes, Ms. Bumpus.
Thank you, Chair Drew. This is Sonia Bumpus. I just wanted to note that the website address for EFSEC Online is https www.efsec.wa.gov.
Thank you. Is there anything else to come before EFSEC today? Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.